This is Xóchitl Ashe. Welcome to the Pachamama School podcast, where ancient earth wisdom meets the evolution happening right now. I am a fifth generation Quechua-Aymara medicine woman, and I've prepared an episode today that I know will give you exactly what you need, not just to survive, but to thrive during these incredible times of planetary transformation. If you're here, it's because your soul knows there's another way, a way that our ancestors have always known. And today, we are diving deep. Let's begin. Hey, just a little note. When we were recording these podcast episodes, we thought that the name of this podcast was going to be Future Proof Earth. But as we sat down with spirit, with the earth, and with some medicine, we realized the real name of this podcast is Pachamama School. So enjoy this podcast. Just wanted you to know that the podcast has a new name. Love you. Welcome, everyone. I just have to take a moment because this is truly one of my dreams come true. I have a beautiful teacher, mentor, elder here that I've actually been connected for many years. I think at least 20. And then we recently connected about 4 years ago at Esalen Institute. And so it's my pleasure and my honor to bring Jyoti Ma to our podcast.
Oh, it's my honor completely. I'm glad we have so many decades we've been walking by each other's side.
Yes. And so I want to introduce you to this really, what I love to say is one of the visionaries and wise women of our time. And so if you don't know her, you need to know her. And if you already know her, you're in for a treat. We're going to have this incredible conversation today. So Jyoti Ma is an internationally renowned spiritual teacher. She has cultivated projects that demonstrate ways of life that honor the earth and all peoples. As the grandmother vision keeper of the Center for Sacred Studies, centerforsacredstudies.org, she co-founded Kayumari with spiritual communities both in America and Europe. Other projects she has helped to convene are the International Council of 13 Indigenous Grandmothers and the Unity Concert. She's founder of The Fountain, and its mission is to restore an economic model that is based on reciprocity and collaboration guided by nature and the sacred. Currently, as a delegate of Mother Earth, delegation of United Original Nations, a collaboration with The Fountain, it has grown, creating a global movement for and with the earth that is ready to activate the new day. I'm so ready to activate the new day.
Aren't we all?
And these conversations to me are like ceremony. You know, we open sacred space because the intention of this podcast, the intention of getting together is really that all those that listen, may you find some medicine for you that you can bring into your heart, into your life, into your communities. So I would love to, what an honor to have Jyoti to just open up the sacred space for us.
I would love to. Thank you so much. And thank you for having me. I'm sitting here on the sacred territory of the Pomo and the coastal Miwok people, offering this prayer to you, great ones. I'm calling on the spirits of the four directions and those that live above us and below us and those that work through us to help us create a circle of awakening today, a circle where inspiration can flow and touch each of our hearts and open our hearts so that as they breathe out that intelligence of love, it will pull us into a state of oneness that we can share together. For truly the prophecies from many nations, from many walks of life and spiritual practice, have been telling us for generations about this moment of time that we're all standing in, a very prophetic moment of choice. Thank you for waking us. Thank you for helping us clear out what's in our ears and eyes that will not allow us to listen and see you, and the miraculous moment of your making that we are all in and have come to serve. Thank you for our medicines. All those medicines from around the planet. Some have left their continents for a while and have moved out to open and wake people and heal people and prepare people for this very moment we're standing in. And as my elders told me so many decades ago, we were in a moment of blessing as these great power plants and teachers, those intelligence of nature that weave this creation, that they've come to offer themselves up in this moment of preparation, healing, and awakening. What a gift it was if we were brought to the table to sit with them and learn from them and be with them and listen deeply. For they say, the elders told me, that there'll come a time when they'll go back to their home countries and we'll be left with ceremony and the song that will help us continue to sustain life and honor all life as sacred. So thank you, Creator. Thank you for all the magnificence and diversity of this creation. As I stood on my back porch this morning, raising my prayer of gratitude to the morning star that called the sun to bring the light of day, so that we could all step up inside that light and fill ourselves with it. For surely this is a moment when all light bringers must fully activate themselves and bring their full authenticity into the work of service of a world in ascension, a world moving from one cycle and in opening into a new one. A world that's ending is falling into the beginning, as the Eagle Condor prophecy speaks. When the ending falls into the beginning in 2026, it's important. It tells us to pay attention to what is falling down so we can stay informed, but to stay focused on that which is breaking through. And that which is breaking through, you say, will be carried by those individuals and movements and organizations that are basing themselves on the original principles of those original ways of life in those original days. Those original principles of love and heart and reciprocity and collaboration, tolerance, unity. All life is sacred. Let us remember ourselves and come back to that so that we can embody those principles and walk the light of that new day, that new dawn, into its full manifestation. I know it will take a lot of courage, Creator, for we will have to use the spiritual practices and the things that you've already given us to prepare for these times, to still our minds and listen to our hearts and stay in dialogue with you and this creation so that we can listen intently to the instruction of the steps to take. Help us not be pulled into the confusion, distracted by some of the false stories that are flying everywhere. For truly the Spirit said at the first of this year that as we watch that ending fall, to lean into our communities, into our cohorts, so that we can all have more eyes on what's falling down, so we can be mindful and strategic as we step, bringing the light of this new dawn through a year of mind, M-I-N-D, feels. And it's Hardy showing what a mind trick is playing on us, the ways that we are caught in the mind and lost in self. But we are waking, and the Mother Earth is counting on it. She's calling forth everything and doing everything she can to bring us awake in this moment, for we as a human species are making a choice about how many of us will go into that new dawn. For she told us a few years ago that she could no longer carry these maladies that we were putting on her and are still doing to her this day, that she was going to have to start her ascension process and her big movements were going to be put in motion. If we assisted those original people, if we got our resources to them so that as they hear her instruction, they can gather her medicines and put her healing into play, and her motion can be more gentle for us as a species. And if not, she says, in 2026, she must start the movement, and that movement will be much stronger than if we choose to collaborate, to participate, and to bring her into our full focus. Let it be that way. Let it be that way. For there are ancestors that are guiding us, directing us, showing us the way. Some are here with skin on and some with not, but they are here and they are presenting that instruction. They have initiated us, they have prepared us, and now they are given the guidance of the walk. Let us listen deeply so we can hear and return to a way of life where all life is sacred. And a new cycle begins. And what a celebration we can have.
Mm.
Truly, truly, it's an honor to be here during the turning time. It's an honor to be able to show up once again, because many say that we are the bodhisattvas, that we came when the turning was before, and we have come again, for we know how to listen, and we will bring this energy of consciousness through the keyhole and into the new dawn. So I thank you for all those that are listening, for all those that have heard that call, for all those that are circled up here to have this dialogue today, and let creation lead our way. I give you great thanks. I give you great thanks. I give you great, great thanks.
Hmm. Hayeye aho. And so it is. Mm. Thank you so much for these words. Whew. I'm so happy that we got to record them today. I really needed to hear that prayer.
Hmm.
Mm. So I want to talk about first, you are so connected. You've always been so connected to spirit. And I want to talk about how I got to know you, because I think that while there might be some folks that know about um, some of your work, I got to know you because I went to Ojai to see a documentary um, about the 13 Indigenous grandmothers. This was like 20 years ago.
At least.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And as an Indigenous person myself, it brought me to tears, on so many levels, tears of joy, tears of recognition of like what I have known um was true in my heart. Uh here it was manifested in what was your vision to bring these 13 Indigenous grandmothers together. And while, a lot of people know about the 13 Indigenous grandmothers, I think it's important to know about grandmother Jyoti Ma, because you were the one that had the vision to bring them together. Can you share with us about that vision?
Yes, and I wanna stretch that out to a whole community because I live in a community and we caught something together in ceremony one night. There were about 80 of us gathered, and the mother came in very strong presence, one of the strongest moments that so many could witness at the same time. It was a humbling moment. She said, "I'm going to give you one of my most treasured baskets. And in that basket are some of my most precious jewels. Those jewels represent lines of prayer that go back to the original day. Do not change them. Do not mix them. Protect and keep them safe. Walk them through the doorway of the millennia. Hand them back to me. I have something we're going to do."
Mm.
Now, we didn't really understand what all that meant, but we had come together as a community on top of a mountain in the Sierra, about a hour's drive from Yosemite, and, up our 14-mile logger road came elders that would find us somehow, and they would initiate us in each of those jewels in the basket. And each of those jewels in the basket brought a line of prayer from those original days that informed us of the protocol of how to care for that ceremonial way. And as we got initiated by each of those medicines in the basket, we began to dive deeper into a memory of that original way of life when all life is carried as sacred. It woke us. It woke a whole village of us, and that those teachings stretched out not only in our community, but in other places where we had, groups gathering, following the same mandate or mission. And we had a community that opened up outside of Prague that's now going to be 27 years old. Our community is almost 40 years old. And when we came together, we were very innocent and we were very naive, and maybe still are, but we had this devotion that was very alive in us like fire. And it brought us to the top of this mountain. We didn't know how to go about starting a spiritual community, but we knew we wanted to step out of throwaway society where, I use a car for a while and then it's done. It's thrown away. I get something else that I use in my home. It's done. I throw it away. The relationship didn't work so well. It's done. I throw it away. Throw away society.
Mm.
And we didn't want to live that way. We didn't want to raise our children that way. We wanted to step out of whatever box that was. And we didn't even know where we were stepping to, but we wanted to declare longevity. We wanted to say, can we, as a people living together like this, truly open to an awakening process? Can we step into full potential and authenticity and be kind while we're doing it? Because waking up is messy
Yes.
and we're humans and we bump into each other as those wounds flare and they heal. We wanted to be kind to one another while we went through such messy moments. We wanted to walk through the challenges that we knew would come up that 14-mile logger road and even longer past that time and still into this one. We wanted to dedicate ourselves to unity and love and kindness. We wanted our children to raise their consciousness and grow it through those original principles and with those original principles and walk on this planet differently. We wanted to ride the river of life, and we knew that on that river there are going to be white foamy moments where you're sure you're going to get shook out of the canoe, but we wanted to be sure when we hit those moments we would stay in the canoe and ride it out with each other till we got to the next part of the water, which was gentler and take us a little bit further down the road. So after this many decades of walking together, we've hit a lot of those whitewater moments.
Mm.
We stayed in our canoes, and now we're getting old with each other. I'm 77, I'm just about to turn 77, which my Western
Mm.
calls me 77. My elders say at 78 years of walking around the sun. But I would not have had any, back in the early days, I had no idea where she was bringing me, and I'm not sure I would have gone there because I didn't have aspirations, but we followed her, and we were devoted to that, and we did the work of cleaning ourselves and opening and healing and finding ways to unify and
Mhm.
embrace our diversity. We found ways, she brought us tools that would help us do that, would help wake us and heal us and keep us awake. She brought us a way of life through ceremony that is part of life that, when my little ones, when they were growing up that were born in my bathtub, they'd come running on their little tricycles over to me, and they were raised where everything was this was how a way of life was. It wasn't something you went to do over here, practice, and then over there. It was something that was a way of life. And
Mm.
so they would know, "Oh, grandma, I need to get my blanket and come and sleep behind you in teepee tonight because, you know, mom can't get in, but I gotta go in and talk to Grandpa Coyote because, I'm having so much trouble in kindergarten." So you'd see
Mm.
them there, and they'd be on their knees praying and talking to Grandpa Coyote in the fireplace, and then they'd crawl back behind me and go to sleep. They'd have their answer. They knew how to go and speak to Mother Nature. They could we called it Crystal Mountain because she always presented crystals to everybody. So
Mm.
kids would run into the kitchen in the morning sometimes when I was cooking and, "Look, grandma, what she gave me," and be this beautiful crystal, clear. I said, "Wow, you must have said something really kind to her or something this morning because she really wants to recognize you for that." And you could see them going away, "Oh, what did I do this morning that she was so happy with?"
Aw.
You know?
So i- it was this community where you were in, and um how did you come to know that you needed to search for these 13 grandmothers?
Well, this basket, they brought all these teachers up that road,
Mhm.
and for almost a decade, we were initiated and trained up. And then more people in the village started getting the whisperings of it's time to gather the grandmothers. It's time to gather the
Mm.
grandmothers. So we went about doing so. Sat down and wrote a letter with all the vision as I've shared it with you and what the promptings were that were coming from our community. And I sent this inviting them to come to a gathering in upper state New York at the Dalai Lama's Medicine Retreat Center. And I sent it to 16. We got the names of those 16 by sending the word out first across our community and all the different places where it lived and letting them know what was in motion and them sending back names of elders that they said, "Oh, this is the one you need to call." So I ended
Mm.
up with 16 names coming that way. So
Mhm.
I wrote them. 13 of them answered back and accepted this invitation to that first gathering in 2004.
Mhm.
Now I thought it was going to be one time, and then we will have accomplished what she asked. But when we got there, magical things happened that told us that this vision was timely and validation occurred to let us know it needed to stay in motion. And one of those examples is grandmother Rita Blumenstein. She was Yupik from up in the cold country of Alaska.
Mhm.
She's no longer with us. She's gone back to the ancestral land. But she was there and she told us a story. She told us a story of when she was young and small girl, that her grandmother came and got her and sat her down and said, "Rita, I need you to know that when you're old and gray like me, You're gonna be asked to come and sit on a council of 13 grandmothers.
Whoa.
I have gathered 13 bundles of sacred stones and 13 white eagle feathers. You must protect and keep these safe until that moment comes. And when it does come, then you are to pass out this bundle and this white eagle feather to each and every grandmother there and take one for yourself and sit down and know I'm standing behind you and the times we've been preparing for are now.
Mm.
She was in her 60s when she brought
Mhm.
that message. I believe it was her 60s. Um, and there wasn't a dry eye in the room, and we could
Mm.
all feel the import of what Spirit was putting in motion. So the council, we all actually told the council, well, my board was there, my staff were there from the Center for Sacred Studies. And we got together and we went and told the grandmothers, if you want to become a council, we'll just give you our organization because it's 2 years old. And if you want to make another form out of that, then you've got, you need to be 2 years old first before you can do other things in political kind of realms or whatever, wherever they might
Mhm.
want to go through NGO work and things like that. Um, and you can have this if and what they decided was they wanted to become the International Council of 13 Indigenous Grandmothers, and they wanted to come under the blanket of the Center for Sacred Studies for a while. And so for almost a decade, we walked with them and
Mm.
helped produce and raise funding and organize because they chose to go around into each of their home countries. So we could meet their culture. We could see the diversity of culture. We could see the
Mm.
different languages, the different regalia, the different ceremonies, and be touched by the sacred territory that culture took care of and stood
Mm.
on. And that started a movement for world peace. So that and we as I said, we were there almost a decade, and a few years prior to that, of them needing to go and fly on their own, the next I call them archetypal seeds, that was
Mhm.
given to me was the fountain, and we began to put our focus on the next part of what the mother's asking us to tend to, and that brought us to the fountain, and that brought me into
Mm.
deeper relationships, with the earth and particularly with the 4 original people of Colombia who we
Mhm.
still have we're still very, very active in working with, um, and yeah, so that the Mother Earth delegation, uh, came in 2019. She's been putting the new parts of this next part of my story together, so that we could be poised to respond
Yeah.
in these challenging moments we're in, and
Mm.
I'm happy and humbled by that.
Well, thank you, because that leads us to our like next part, which is what now, right? Like I'm really feeling the urgency and at the same time the need for stillness of hearing like what now. Um, we are in a time where, like you talked about the Eagle Condor prophecy, which is from my lineage, but there's many prophecies that have talked about this time, and
Mhm,
it's not like it's coming. It's now. Here we are. It's
mhm,
here. And I
mhm,
think it feels really scary, really uncomfortable, really confusing for many. Um, it feels like uh apocalypse, right? Like what is in stores is really not good and horrible. And yet I feel that it is so important to bring voices like yours because we need voices like yours at this time. You speak about 2026, especially I know that there's a prophecy about 2026 and coming from Colombia because you've worked with uh, the original peoples of Colombia. I would love your wisdom around 2026, because not a lot of people know about that. Before we continue with the rest of this episode, I'd like to take a moment to thank the sponsors of this podcast. This podcast is made possible by one of our sponsors, Microdosify. Their mission is to combat the global mental health crisis one person at a time through quality psychedelic education and community. They've just launched a new program called Microdosify Spaces, a community-led support group dedicated to helping you integrate your psychedelic experiences. And best of all, they are free. To learn more or sign up, visit the show notes. If you listen until the end of this episode, you will also receive a code to take 10% off anything in their shop. Stay tuned.
I would start by answering that by saying, that in 2013, they brought a small group of us together in Colombia and shared the next part of the Eagle Condor prophecy, which was that we were entering a 13-year great cleanse. So if you look at that time from 2013 till now, you can see how strong that cleanse has gotten with the pandemic, with everything that's gone on, with the earth changes, and that now we're in that 13th year of the great cleanse. We're in that year right before the ending falls into the beginning in 2026. We're in that moment, and it's like we're in a the earth moves in 26,000 year cycles. When I was in India, I would go into sacred places and I would see clocks on the wall. And from 12 to 1 was 2,500 years. And from 1 to 2 was another 2,500 years. And so it went all the way around the clock to 26,000 years. That last little part of that cycle, they call the Kali Yuga.
Mm-hmm.
This is where the ending is falling into the beginning. It's the same sharing. That's why it's so important as I share with people to remind them that nature is all about cycle. Everything cycles. Everything's always in motion. It's not stagnant. It's in motion and it's in a cycle. And so every 26,000 years, she closes a cycle. Now they call this the sixth extinction, which means that she's been through this 5 times before.
Mm-hmm.
So she's going to be fine. She's moving into an ascension process, which Rita Blumenstein talked about as she said her grandmother would tell her stories about the original times and all the birds were white. And then as the Mother Earth started to open her chakras and move up the chakra system, the birds turned black. She said that this first 3 chakras that we've been in as humans has been about learning about our animal survival. And that this next chakra, as she opens to the heart, that she's taking us all into this ascension, into the heart, which is when she starts that ascension process that brings her fully into an enlightened being. But moving from that power chakra, those instinctual nature, into the heart is, she said, the first time we will become human beings. So we're at that kind of a time and space. So I say it doesn't help to say what went wrong or who did it wrong or this is wrong or this is right and all the stories that are flying all over the place right now. We just need to embrace we're in an ending cycle. And if we can embrace that ending cycle, then we will get more strategic to watch how things around us, the government, the social structures that we have put together through our Western ideology that has cut us from our source and the connection to nature itself. We've got to restore that. We're coming back to that restoration of self. And when we do, we will step into the next cycle, which is going to bring us into a study of unity. That's what her heart chakra will do. Will bring us into a full opening and learning. from the
Mhm.
consciousness of unity, of our oneness. And
Mhm.
that brings us to a full return to where we started from so long ago. At least
Mhm.
that's the way some of my elders explain this time that we're in.
Mhm.
But we have to be really courageous
Mhm.
and we have to be humble and we have to be willing to listen. Because if we can restore this connection with our nature, if you can go out wherever you are, all of you have access to nature.
Yeah.
Go sit by the river or by the sea. Go sit by a tree that calls you or a meadow of flowers that's beginning to blossom because spring is surely upon us soon. And deeply, deeply listen. Close your mind, slow your mind, still your mind, and open your heart so it can start to talk to you and make that connection with the dialogue of nature because it will happen. It happens. That's what we call deep listening when you go and you sit and you deeply listen and make that connection because she's always dialoguing. We're the ones that close things off from her. When we open back up, we get to see the miracles she produces every single day. There's not a day goes by I don't see a miracle.
Mhm.
You know, waking up and having a breath in the morning is a miracle.
Yes.
And, you know, we're water babies because when we're born, water comes first and then we come. So we got to pay attention to what we need to do for water. So once you sit in that nature, once you do that and you start to make that reconnection, then who are the original people that care for that land? Do you know who they are? That's the next place to go. Not to go out grabbing for things. You sit and you hold something and then you let it come to you. We didn't go out and reach for the elders to come and find us on top of that mountain. They came and found us. We didn't have
Mhm.
an aspiration. We didn't try to appropriate. We just sit and you get clear about just the listening. Who are the people that were the original caretakers? It will come to you. They will come to you. You will find them and the funniest things will happen. Just like you and I met.
Mhm.
You know, those kinds of moments get to happen. And then once you've got that place, then you start looking at, okay, I'm waking up now. What do I need help with? Are there things I need to do to help cleanse myself? It brings me back to the teachings of Terence McKenna,
Mhm.
because in 2012, when the Mayan calendar was supposedly coming to an end, and
Mhm.
Y2 was too. So everybody thought the world surely was ending, and people were really frightened. They were really frightened. So Terence went to the mushroom people and he asked them, is time ending? And they said, time is ending as you know it. And then they went on to say that there were parallel realities running side by side all the time and always have been and always will be. That what we needed to do right now was we needed to clean ourselves, clear our minds,
Mhm.
and take the time to heal and awake ourselves so that we could start to be more aware of what we're focusing on. For truly what we focus on when this time change comes, and it will come very quickly when it does, what we're focusing on will be the stream of consciousness and those parallel realities that we'll fall down into. So if I got
Mhm.
all my focus on war and destruction and abuse, I'm going to fall down into a world like that.
Mm.
What world do you want to fall down into?
Heaven on earth.
There you go. There is a stream
Yeah.
of consciousness running parallel like that. And I was driving down the highway not too long ago with my husband, and I remembered these teachings that Terence had brought up. And all of a sudden I said, wow, you know, I think that's what we're seeing right now all over. It's all these different streams of consciousness. Which one do we want to catch the current for? I think that's
Yeah.
kind of the moment of choice we're in, like never before.
I'm so happy you spoke on that because I really felt this clarity. Um, I think it's been already a month right after the LA fires. So I was living in Mexico, and when we met, I was living in Mexico, and now I'm in LA. So
Oh,
yeah, so we evacuated, and our home didn't burn. Um
thank God.
but yes, we're so blessed. But being in the middle of it, and
Mm.
Spirit told me to come back to LA, and I was sitting really just not fully in clarity, really overwhelmed by the situation, the grief, the sadness of, being in such a massive fire. Um and finally clarity came, and it was that I had to be certain that no matter what was happening around me, that I was born for this,
Right on.
and that Mother Earth, Pachamama, is going to guide me, and is going to guide us who choose to connect with her at this time. And that whatever I do, even if I'm sitting on the couch, just being in silence, that my assignment right now was to hold the vision that paradise on earth, heaven on earth, unity, love was possible at this time, no matter what.
See it, be it.
Mm-hmm.
See it and be it. We can no longer intellectualize what we already know.
Mm-hmm.
Now we have to embody it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's the work that I like. I want to know, because you're somebody that I really admire. Um, I feel like you have a clear channel, a very strong one. So, what would your recommendations or advice at this time would be to some of us that, when we're in the middle of it, or we get hit, we get angry at watching, the atrocities that are happening. Like, how do we get back to that certainty, that clarity? How do you do it?
She gave me an image. A friend of mine actually gave me this image some years ago, but at the first of the year, she brought me some instruction. The image she brought me was that we are like divine flames in a wind tunnel. We have to plant that flame so it's firm in itself, and we need to step right in the center of it so that we can use the wind to grow us and brighten us as we walk the light of the new dawn,
Hmm.
rather than allow the wind to diminish us or extinguish us.
Mm.
So when things get really crazy, like they just did 2 days ago, I mean, we can speak every day has another big whoa moment. Um,
Yes.
there going to be a lot more of them. But when that image has helped me so much, just to when it gets like that, I just take a deep breath and I see myself being that light, that divine flame in that wind tunnel. I feel the wind moving around and I feel it brighten me and warm me and grow me. And I hold it like that,
Mm.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
There's another mantra that I was given some years ago that wants to come up, and I can share. I give it to you. I have to pass it to you by you repeating it after me 3 times.
Yes.
And I can tell you a little story about how this happened. Well, I was with the grandmothers, and as I said, we went to each grandmother hosted a gathering in her home place. And so grandmother Sering Gotong, who's also now in ancestral land, she was an amazing, beautiful, just fully lit person, humble, caring, loving. And she brought us to Dharamsala so we could meet His Holiness, she's Tibetan, meet His Holiness, the Dalai Lama. And when we got there, his whole family took care of us almost the whole time we were there. It was such an honor, such an amazing moment.
Mm.
And so such a privilege, an honor for me to really listen to grandma and what she needed. I was just the legs to help her carry it out. She was the one that was holding that flame of union and people coming together there in Dharamsala. And we were kind of new still as a delegation. Um, and I we were 6 weeks out, and I had about $85,000 more I needed to bring in and just to pay the bills, and I was waking up all full of angst every morning, and my mind was trying to connect with the angst, which it can do, and then you're really in trouble. Um, and I got this mantra was given to me, and, the as all of this angst was happening, I would have what I call the bad angel on this side that would say, "Well, and if you don't get the resources, then the grandmothers won't get to meet His Holiness the Dalai Lama." And the other angel, the good angel in this shelter would just say, "Just breathe, just breathe." And it was during this just breathing moment that this mantra came. And I was told that if I used it consistently, everything would be fine. And so this is the mantra. You say it after me.
I'm ready.
I am the Divine Mother.
I am the Divine Mother.
She lives in me.
She lives in me,
And everything she needs
and everything she needs
comes to me easily.
comes to me easily.
I am the Divine Mother.
I am the Divine Mother.
She lives in me.
She lives in me,
And everything she needs
and everything she needs
comes to me easily.
comes to me easily.
I am the Divine Mother.
I am the Divine Mother.
She lives in me.
She lives in me,
And everything she needs
and everything she needs
comes to me easily.
comes to me easily.
So now that's yours. Mantras are as strong as the practice of them. So
Mhm.
I said this mantra all the time. We ended up in Dharamsala. Grandmothers did get to meet with His Holiness the Dalai Lama. And I got my last $10,000 as I was closing the hotel bill when a princess came up and gave me $10,000. And so the mantra works, but you have to have the courage to keep going.
Yes.
That's part of the study of it all.
Yes. Yes. Oh, I mean, we can go on for hours, and that's really the truth. And I definitely want you back, because there's so much more that I want to ask. And you really are a treasure of wisdom. And we're so lucky. We're so lucky. Humanity's so lucky to have you. Really, representing the Divine Mother and the feminine energy here on the planet. I I feel so honored that we get to have this conversation, especially because for me, you bring a reminder and a calming balm to my heart that, like, as you say, we're going to have a lot more wows, and those wows that are not necessarily for pleasant surprises, but, sometimes surprises that make us grow, like that wind in the fire.
Yeah, one of the mandates is claim your own sovereignty. Every single one of us right now will be pushed by what's happening into a need to claim our own sovereignty. What does that look like? I don't think we know yet,
Mm,
but I do know that there's a lot of amazing people on this planet. And if you're being called into service, then all of you are going to find each other and you're going to help support each other. You've got a community that you're growing through this podcast. You
mhm,
know, let everybody have a moment, to have a come sit at the fire moment, and ask the questions that are worrying them. My biggest thing to say to you is stay out of your mind.
Mhm.
It's too tricky in there right now. Whenever you
Mhm.
catch yourself in your mind, just come back and touch your heart. And
Mm.
remember, this is where when we live in our heart, then we've come home. When
Mhm.
the mind dives into the heart, then we've come home.
Mm.
So I wish that for every single one of you that are listening.
Mhm.
And, go take a moment, go sit out in nature right now. Go sit with
Mhm.
your mama.
Mm.
She's calling you.
Mhm.
Thank you so much for all your work and everything you do because us grannies are getting old. I was
Mm.
talking with one of my sister Loretta, a Freddie Bear cook. We've been walking together decades now. We've gotten old together. We're kind of laughing about it getting closer to that 80 number. But we're so glad that the next generations are waking and coming and saying, "What can we do?" And
Mm.
it's a time of things being passed,
Mm.
a time of the new story erupting out of the ashes of what was.
Mm.
Yes, we may have to do some grieving because something that we knew is going, but there's also another moment standing right beside it that has celebration loudly printed in itself because there's a birth happening at the same time. So
Mm.
stay connected to the mystery because you're part of it, an integral, very significant,
Mm.
important part of it. And thank you for your good work and for inviting me here. I'm really humbled to be able to sit with you and just have some
Mm.
moments of sharing like this.
Yeah, I'm coming to visit you. I realized from the last time we saw each other, I think it's been 4 or 5 years ago.
Too long.
It's too long, and now I'm in the US. So, after this podcast recording, I'm gonna come. We're gonna talk
Okay.
about me being with you in the physical form, not just through these sound waves and screens, which are very powerful, and we're so grateful for them. Um, Jyoti Ma, you speak of the new day. Can you just give yourself a minute here with us and just close your eyes? And as we both touch our hearts, what are just last words, last invitations, last wisdom that you want to share as we close that has supported you the most during this time, and that you know that when you share this, it's going to be such powerful love heart medicine for all those that are listening here.
Hmm. There's old prophecy that says we are the ones we've been waiting for. I find that to be a truth shared by many, many nations around this planet. We're standing at a place where all the prophecies have met. Aren't we the lucky ones? Aren't we the lucky ones? So every morning when you get up, get a glass of water, go outside with that sacred, sacred element of the water, and with your heart, give gratitude for the day. And you can bring your partner out there, you can bring your children, you can bring your four-leggeds. You can all pray together and meet the new day that way. And once you're finished with your prayer and that water's caught it all, then you're going to turn your glass and you're going to give 4 drinks to the earth first, and then you're going to take 4 drinks for yourself and pass it to those standing with you and joined in your prayer. Let us know that that is what we do every morning as we meet the new dawn, and all of a sudden, the new dawn becomes the new day.
Mm.
You are cherished, and you are love, and you are the new dawn walking.
Oh. Thank you, Jyoti Ma. Love you so much. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for being here with us.
Thank you, thank you. Mwah.
Ma. If you've enjoyed this episode, the best way to support the Pachamama School podcast is to subscribe, leave us a review, or share it with a loved one. To stay connected with our community and learn about upcoming ceremonies, gatherings, and earth wisdom teachings, visit the show notes and sign up for our newsletter at xochitlashe.com. As a special gift to our podcast listeners, you can download my free ebook, Bridging Worlds, Indigenous Wisdom for Microdosing Mushrooms, where you'll learn to integrate indigenous wisdom into your microdosing practice. Once again, I'd love to thank our sponsor, Microdosify. Listeners can take 10% off anything in their shop. Just enter the code SACRED. Thank you so much for walking this path with me today. And may your life be filled with Pachamamas, blessings, medicine, and magic.